This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 96. Flip the Script, Transforming Creative Blocks into Allies by TK Coleman of tkcoleman.com. And I'm your host and narrator, Dan. Happy Monday to you and hope your 2021 is off to a good start. This is where I read to you from some of the best blogs on entrepreneurship every single day. And now 2020 was interesting to say the least, but if you own a startup, this could also be the year you switch to better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is so easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. Well, you get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. 3 out of 4 customers say they run payroll in 10 minutes or less, our Optimal Living Daily team included. And if you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. Here's the best part. Because you're a listener, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/OSD. Again, that's gusto.com/OSD, and I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. gusto.com/OSD. For now, let's get right to the post as we optimize your life. Flip the Script, Transforming Creative Blocks into Allies by TK Coleman of tkcoleman.com. The Hopeful Romantic. My best friend in high school spent most of his time listening to sappy love ballads and writing poetry for girls while sitting in the back of chemistry classes. My funniest memory of him was the way in which he'd flip the script on his experiences of rejection. He'd ask a girl out, she'd say no, and he'd look over at me and say, "That's okay. Now I know how Boyz II Men felt when they wrote Water Runs Dry. I'll get a great song out of this." Then he'd pen a heartfelt tearjerker about his humiliating moment. Paradoxically, he won the admiration of many girls this way. Where most guys would have been crushed by the contrast, he was catalyzed. What's your block story? Our efforts to overcome creative blocks rarely fail because of facts. We are most often defeated and depleted by the stories we tell ourselves about facts. The way we narrate the experience determines the character of the block. Are you telling an empowering story in which your creative blocks are the dragons you learn to slay on your way towards greatness? Or is it a disheartening story about how your uncle, who said you were a horrible painter, is finally being proven right? If you're having trouble dealing with creative blocks, it may be because you're telling yourself a story that makes it psychologically impossible for you to generate creative ideas and productive energy. In that case, you may need a blockbuster story. I have 2 suggestions that may help you tweak your life script in a more empowering direction. 1. Read 1,000 biographies, one at a time. Quote, "In the course of your lifetime, read 1,000 biographies, because in doing so, you will build a vast vocabulary for overcoming incredible odds." Peter Daniels. In moments when we feel uninspired, afraid, or burned out, we have a window of opportunity to connect to the success stories of great artists and achievers in a visceral way. Studying how other creators respond to blocks significantly improves our creative literacy. My high school friend brilliantly, albeit comically, modeled this practice. In the objective world of facts, he was being rejected by women. In the version of the story he sold himself, his apparent rejection was a rite of passage that all great artists from Boyz II Men to the Beatles had to go through in order to become mature writers. Although he could have felt humbled by failure, his confidence was actually strengthened by the story he placed around the facts. Those stories influenced him to act in ways that eventually led to the results he originally wanted. He was able to do this because he was a student of the songwriters he admired. His knowledge of their struggles gave him a context for making sense of his own. We can employ the same strategy by studying the leaders in our respective disciplines. 2. Practice creative visualization. Quote, "I always had a passion for flashin'. Before I had it, I'd close my eyes and imagine the good life." Kanye West. The process of playfully visualizing your dreams can be a very healthy practice. As creatives, our focus tends to be action-oriented, with the primary emphasis being on producing and shipping tangible results. When we do speak about our personal ambitions, we're sometimes not fully honest, due to fear of being seen as unrealistic, superficial, or selfish. Every creator has a few private fantasies about living the good life, whatever that may personally mean to them. It could be something as simple as getting paid to do what you love, or as stellar as winning a Pulitzer Prize. Either way, creative visualization provides you with a safe environment for reconnecting with the elements that make your personal narrative meaningful. The world is filled with former music majors who left the arts because their curriculum became too mechanical. Somewhere in the process of memorizing sheet music and practicing their scales, they simply forgot about the electrifying Celine Dion concert performance that made them want to sing in the first place. Like a married couple that stops flirting, we sometimes get so involved in the daily routines that we fail to indulge the sensual side of creativity. We're showing up to do the work, but we're no longer frolicking with the muse. Perhaps such a loss of creative spark could be mitigated if we made more room in our day to go to places in our imagination where we're free to dream and feel good without having to live up to anyone else's idea of a respectable, well-behaved, aesthetically refined creator. Maybe by doing so, we can begin to reawaken and reinvigorate the story that first captured our hearts. Flip the script. Creative blocks have stopped many amazing ideas from being materialized. Consequently, they have amassed a strong reputation for being the ultimate antagonist in a creator's life. It doesn't have to be this way. The script can be flipped. By drawing from the biographies of other creators and reclaiming our personal narrative through creative visualization, we can transform creative blocks into powerful protagonists. That's my 2 cents. You just listened to the post titled Flip the Script, Transforming Creative Blocks into Allies by TK Coleman of tkcoleman.com. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this episode. This year, give a gift of exploration and knowledge. Get creative and learn how to make 2021 your best year yet. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/OSD and get a free trial of premium membership. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers membership with meaning. There are so many topics to explore, including marketing, illustration, entrepreneurship, and more. As a freelancer myself, it's been helpful to learn about bookkeeping. I took a Skillshare class called Bookkeeping for Freelancers, How to Handle Your Finances, which is a great resource if you are new to freelancing or starting a business. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. For the price of 2 cups of coffee, you get access to a plethora of learning resources wherever you go. And besides learning professional skills, you can learn ways to improve yourself or make one-of-a-kind gifts for your loved ones. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/OSD and get a free trial of premium membership. That's 2 weeks free at Skillshare.com/OSD. Thank you to TK. He is the education director over at Praxis since the beginning. He oversaw the development of the original Praxis curriculum, and he handled all of the coaching. Now he manages the Praxis education staff and their team of advisors. Praxis is a college alternative that builds your skills and your network, and you don't pay until you're hired. Really interesting concept. You can also hear TK yourself on the podcast Office Hours, where he and Isaac Morehouse answer questions about careers. So check that out and come by tkcoleman.com for a lot more great content. But that'll do it for me today. I thank you so much for listening and for being a subscriber of the show. Have a great start to your week, and I will, of course, be back tomorrow where I'll have a post from Kate Erickson of EO Fire. So I'll see you there, where your optimal life awaits.